just doing some soil tests up in the Atherton Tableland, just off the back of the soil nutrient management plan workshops and the soil testing we've been doing in those. So this actually is a bit of a case study that we're doing to kind of see the changes that the SNMP has created to the farm. We're Peter and Veronica English's, just outside Malanda. So they actually had very good nutrient levels as a whole over the farm. In particular, their potassium levels were quite high. I would say that there is something unique about this farm. They use the effluent water and waste from the factory just down there, which is probably a very nutrient-rich source, and that being spread over the farm has created quite a stockpile of nutrients in the soil. It's not typical, I would say, of the area. Generally, with the permanent-based pastures, high organic matter, we do have good, healthy soils in this area. But to the levels that they are at the moment, especially running a quite high-intense dairy farm, it is pretty high still. So the work that we're doing aims for, a couple of different goals. It has goals for the farmer with production and economic outcomes, but then also for the wider environment. So with the work that we're doing with the SNMPs, we're looking at kind of reducing the impacts of farming on the local environment by matching fertiliser inputs to plant requirements to reduce runoff and the movement of sediment and nutrients off the farm. I guess the whole idea with our funding is the triple bottom line, so having an environmental outcome, an economic outcome, and then also a social outcome. So that's what we look to do with all our projects, and I think the SNMP fits in very well with that. If they're spending money to get that nutrients into the soil, in any way that they are doing it, whether even though it might be waste from somewhere else, they're still spending the money to buy it, spread it and incorporate it, that is probably not going to have any yield response. So if that is the case and we can kind of cut back and make a saving that way, it will be beneficial to the farm as a whole.
We don't get paid much for our milk, so fertiliser's pretty hard to come by.
It's about spending money wisely. If you have an in-depth soil analysis, you can target specific nutrients on your farm. There's quite a few farmers that still fertilise to a rule of thumb, something that's been done or something that is of old advice or their father used to do, and it's not necessarily the best way to spend their money. With soil tests, which cost about $85 to $95, and a little bit of advice, you can kind of target exactly what nutrients require, so you know that your dollar that you spend is probably actually going to have a yield response.
It's good to do the tests and you know where you're at, and well, it all comes down to money, doesn't it, at the end of the day? Well, that's why you do the tests.
I think the one-on-one advice and the fact that we take time to come back and discuss the soil test results on the farm with the farmer and tailor the recommendations and the information to the farm, I think the farmers find very valuable. So instead of just printing out the results and handing them back and saying off you go, we kind of try to come back and explain and try to capacity build as well.